So here's the number of articles that Wikipedia had, starting at 0 and going up to a little over 4.5 million from the years 2001 to 2015. Is this the graph of a function? So there's some function that determines how many articles there will be on Wikipedia for all time. And you want a model of that function because you need to be able to predict how many servers, for instance, you might need to purchase to hold all the articles that you're going to have. So this is actually a challenging problem that Wikipedia faced in the real world. And they had to figure out what type of function would fit the article, would fit the data the best. And so based on that, they had to come up with something that had parameters. So one model that they tried was an exponential growth model. And that exponential growth model was right here. It was n of t equals n of 0 e to the t over tau. So this model had two parameters. It had this n of 0, which I would like better if it were written n sub 0 to make it clear that it's a parameter. And it had this tau parameter. So they fit the data and saw what this predicted. That's for exponential, and this is what the exponential curve looked like, but it was overestimating the growth pretty significantly. This model predicted that by 2007, there would be 3 million articles, and that was about 2.1 million articles too high. So there was a lot of error. And what they also tried a quadratic model and what's called an extended growth model, a two-phase exponent. They tried a lot of different models. And this is how it works in the real world. You don't know what type of function you actually need. You need to know lots of different types of functions, and then you gradually work your way into what you find is correct. And there's a type of function they use that comes up sometimes in growth problems called the Gompertz function that looks like this, that has 3 parameters. So all these different types of functions that they had different numbers of parameters, and you can see what the predictions were. And they actually tried a 4-parameter modified Gompert model. Now, I'm not going to ask you to understand the details of this at any point nearby. The point of all this is just to say different models have different parameters. And when you're doing this in the real world, you need to be willing to guess and check different functions with different numbers of parameters to see which ones actually are realistic. So there's a process that we're going to go through here that's called interpolation.